using loops to look at every element in a list. We've discussed lists and tuples themselves. Today, we're going to discuss list functions or list methods or list procedures, whatever word you want to use. So there are a variety of different actions that we can take on a list once we have created it. And each of these actions can be taken by calling these functions on a list. So most of these list functions are going to change the contents of the lists that we call them on without returning a value. So a lot of these are going to let us change the length of our list, add more elements, remove some elements, or a variety of other different things. So here you can see all of the methods, functions we're going to talk about today. So let's go one by one. All right, append is our first one. This one is really important. This lets us add a new element to the end of the list. So if I have my list equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I print my list, I get that list there. If I append 6, I will have my list with the number 6 added to the end of it. Append is super useful for a whole bunch of different things. Just if you want to add more elements, this is usually the best way to do it, to add them onto the end of your list. If I use a list as a parameter to the append function, what do we think is going to happen? Will I get the list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? Will I get the list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then another list inside? What do we think?
One, two, three, four, five, six, 7.
All right, good guess. However, append will only ever add one element to the list. So we will get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. However, 6 and 7 are going to be in their own little list still, because append will always add exactly one element. So here we've added a 2-element list to our original longer list. So if I want to actually add these elements to the end of this and have one long list, I can use the extend function, which will take a list as a parameter and it will add it to the end of my original list. So if my original list is 1, 2, 3, and I extend with the list 6, 7, 8, I'm going to get one long list, 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8. And we can replicate this using the plus equals operator. We can add lists together, just like we can add strings together. So I can say my list equaling 1, 2, 3, and then my list plus equals 6, 7, 8, and that will add those values to that list. Make sense so far? Cool. All right. If I want to add a new element at a specific point in my list, I can use the insert function. This takes 2 parameters. It takes where I want to insert, which index, and it takes the new element I want to insert. So it will put that element into the list at the given index. So all of the elements currently at or after that index are going to get shifted back by 1. So if my list is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 still, and I insert at index 2 the number 10, I have index 0, index 1, index 2. So it's going to insert at this location and shift everything back. So this will only add values to the list. It's not going to remove anything. It's just going to push everything else back from that position. Cool? Cool. All right. Dot sort will let me put everything in the list in order. The default, if I do not pass any parameters, is going to be in ascending order. So if I have my list 8, 6, 2, 4, 9, and I sort it, I'm going to get 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. It's going to sort it in ascending order. If I want to sort into descending order, I can pass the parameter reverse. If reverse is true, it will sort into descending order. I'll get 9, 8, 6, 4, 2. So if we don't care about going in descending order, we can just say dot sort, and it will work as we expect. If I want to flip a list around, this is not going to sort the list. All it's going to do is change it from front to back. It'll just flip it all the way around. So if my list is 8, 6, 4, 8, 6, 2, 4, 9, if we flip this backwards, we get 9, 4, 2, 6, 8. Everything is just in the opposite location. Just flips it all the way around. So we can replicate the sort with reverse equals true by saying mylist.sort and then mylist.reverse. That will do the same thing as saying mylist.sort reverse equals true. So there's two ways to accomplish it. I can call the count function on a list. And that will tell me how many times the element that I'm looking for is found in the list. So if my list is 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. If I count the number of times 2 appears, how many times do I get? 2. The number 2 is found 2 times. If I try to count 50, how many times is 50 found in this list? 0. So is this going to cause an error? No, fortunately it will not. So if I try to find, or if I try to count something that is not in my list, it's just going to tell me that is not in your list. You get 0 instances. So count is pretty useful for finding whether or not something is in your list at all. Because if you count and there is no instance of it, then you can't do anything with it. It's especially useful for when I try to remove something from my list. So remove is going to take the value of an element as its parameter. What it's going to do is find the first copy of that element and yank it out of the list. Everything after that point is going to slide down by 1 index. So if my list is 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I call mylist.remove 3, it's going to find that first 3, pull it out, everything is going to shift downward. So that works just fine. However, if you try to remove something that is not in your list, if here I tried to say mylist.remove 50, I would get an error saying something like this: list.indexx, x not in list. So let's talk about what index does so we can figure out what that error means. Index is going to take the value of an element as its parameter, and we can optionally tell it where to start and stop looking, but that doesn't really matter right now. So if we're looking for a value, what it's going to do is tell us the index of that value. It's going to find the first copy of it and let us know where it is. So if my list is 3, 2, 3, 4, 5 again, there's my list. Where is the first index where I can find 3? It's at index 0. So that works just fine when this element is in the list. If we remember, we've been using some string functions, and the find function in the string will tell us where a certain substring can be found within a string. However, there's a big difference between find and index. Find, the string function, will return -1 if the value is not found. Index will crash your program if it does not find the value. So if we add an if statement before we try to index or remove, if we add an if, count of that element does not equal 0, if we're checking that there is at least one element or one of that element in our list, we can make sure we're not going to cause an error. So if I'm trying to, let's go back to here. If I wanted to remove if I wanted to remove a 50, I could add if my list dot count 50 does not equal 0, then I can call my list dot remove 50. And then that remove call is protected. It'll only run when there is a 50 to actually take out. Otherwise, it's just going to get skipped. So there's that. Any questions thus far? All clear? Great. All right, and our last one, I believe, is pop. This is the other way to remove a value from a list. And pop is, instead of getting the value of an element to remove, pop is going to accept the index of an element, and it will remove whatever element is at that index. And everything else will slide down by one index, just like with remove. Pop will return something, just so if in case you wanted to find whatever value was at that position, you can save the value from mylist.pop. Most of these methods, most of these functions are not going to return anything. Index will return something, remove will not return anything, count will, but most of the other ones that are going to change our list somehow will not return anything. Pop will return something. It'll return the value that was removed. So my list is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I pop at index 2, 0, 1, 2, that will return the value 3. And this will also change my list. So my list is now 1, 2, 4, 5, because I've removed the value at index 2. Does all make sense? This slideshow is available for you to reference as well. So if you don't remember all of it, all that's available. All of these are also within the docs section of your CodeHS editor. So you can reference all of these there as well.